The mother first beheld with sad survey. She rent her tresses, venerable grey, and cast far off the regal veils away. With piercing shrieks her bitter fate she moans, while the sad father answers groans with groans. Tears after tears his mournful cheeks o'erflow, and the whole city wears one face of woe. No less than if the rage of hostile fires from her foundations curling to her spires o'er the proud citadel at length should rise, and the last blaze send Ilion to the skies. The wretched monarch of the falling state, distracted, pressing to the Dardan gate, scarce the whole people stop his desperate course, while strong affliction gives the feeble force. Grief tears his heart, and drives him to and fro, in all the raging impotence of woe. At length he rolled in dust, and thus began, imploring all, and naming one by one. Ah, let me go where sorrow calls. I, only I, will issue from your walls. Guide or companion, friends, I ask ye none, and bow before the murderer of my son. My grief perhaps his pity may engage, perhaps at least he may respect my age. He has a father too, a man like me, one not exempt from age and misery, vigorous no more, as when his young embrace begot this pest of me and all my race. How many valiant sons in early bloom has that cursed hand sent headlong to the tomb? Thee, Hector, last, thy loss, divinely brave, sinks my sad soul with sorrow to the grave. Oh, had thy gentle spirit passed in peace, the son expiring in the sire's embrace, while both thy parents wept the fatal hour, and bending o'er thee mixed the tender shower. Some comfort that had been, some sad relief, to melt in full satiety of grief. Thus wailed the father, grovelling on the ground, and all the eyes of Ilion streamed round. Amidst her matrons Hecuba appears, a mourning princess, and a train in tears. Ah, why has heaven prolonged this hated breath, patient of horror, to behold thy death? O Hector, late thy parents' pride and joy, the boast of nations, the defence of Troy, to whom her safety and her fame she owed, her chief, her hero, and almost her god. O fatal change, become in one sad day a senseless corse, inanimated clay! But not as yet the fatal news has spread to fair Andromache of Hector dead, and yet no messenger had told his fate, nor e'en his stay without the Scaean gate. Far in the close recesses of the dome, pensive she piled the melancholy loom, a growing work employed her secret hours, confusedly gay with intermingled flowers. Her fair-haired handmaidens heaped the brazen urn, the bath preparing for her lord's return. In vain. Alas, her lord returns no more. Unbathed he lies and bleeds along the shore. Now from the walls the clamours reach her ear, and all her members shake with sudden fear. Forth from her ivory hand the shuttle falls, and thus astonished to her maid she calls. Ah, follow me, she cried with plaintive noise. What plaintive noise invades my ear? 'Tis sure my mother's voice. My faltering knees their trembling frame desert. A pulse unusual flutters at my heart. Some strange disaster, some reverse of fate, ye gods avert it, threats the Trojan state. Far be the omen which my thoughts suggest, but much I fear my Hector's dauntless breast confronts Achilles. Chased along the plain, shut from our walls, I fear him slain. Safe in the crowd, he ever scorned to wait, and sought for glory in the jaws of fate. Perhaps that noble heat has cost his breath, now quenched forever in the arms of death. She spoke, and furious, with distracted pace, fears in her heart and anguish in her face, flies through the dome, the maids her step pursue, and mounts the walls, and sends around her view. Too soon her eyes the killing object found, the godlike Hector dragged along the ground. A sudden darkness shades her swimming eyes. She faints, she falls, her breath, her colour flies. Her hair's fair ornaments, the braids that bound, the net that held them, and the wreath that crowned the veil and diadem, flew far away, the gift of Venus on her bridal day. Around a train of weeping sisters stands, to raise her sinking with assistant hands. Scarce from the verge of death recalled, again she faints, or but recovers to complain. O wretched husband of a wretched wife, born with one fate to one unhappy life, For sure one star its baneful beam displayed on Priam's roof in Hypoplasia's shade. From different parents, different climes we came, at different periods, yet our fate the same. Why was my birth to great Eetion owed, and why was all that tender care bestowed? Would I had never been, O thou, the ghost of my dead husband, miserably lost, thou to the dismal realm forever gone, and I abandoned, desolate, alone, an only child, once comfort of my pains, sad product now of hapless love, remains no more to smile upon his sire, no friend to help him now, no father to defend. For should he scape the sword, the common doom, what wrongs attend him, and what griefs to come? Even from his own paternal roof expelled, some stranger ploughs his patrimonial field. The day that to the shades the father sends robs the sad orphan of his father's friends. He, wretched outcast of mankind, appears forever sad, forever bathed in tears. Amongst thy happy unregarded he hangs on the robe, or trembles at the knee, while those his father's former bounty fed nor reach the goblet nor divide the bread. The kindest but his present wants allay, to leave him wretched the succeeding day. Frugal compassion, heedless they who boast both parents still, nor feel what he has lost, shall cry, Begone, thy father feast not here. The wretch obeys, retiring with a tear. Thus wretched, thus retiring, all in tears, to my sad soul Astyanax appears, forced by repeated insults to return, and to his widowed mother vainly mourn. He who, with tender delicacy bred, with princes sported, and on dainties fed, and when still evening gave him up to rest, sunk soft and down upon the nurse's breast. What must he not, whom Ilion calls Astyanax, from her well-guarded walls, is now that name no more, unhappy boy, since now no more thy father guards his Troy. But thou, my Hector, lies exposed in the air, far from his father's, far from thy parents' and thy consort's care, whose hand in vain, directed by her love, the martial scarf and robe of triumph wove. Now to devouring flames be these a prey, useless to thee from this accursed day, yet let the sacrifice at least be paid, an honour to the living, not the dead. So spake the mournful dame. Her matrons hear, sigh back her sighs, and answer tear with tear.